mini bio to start, so you get a little sense of who I am. Grew up in London, half Norwegian, half British. Studied maths at university and went into investment banking. From there, decided that I didn't want to do it anymore and took an MBA. Well, I decided to do an MBA, and in the short period of time between the leaving investment banking and the MBA, I joined a very small startup following my passion, which is actually food. And the founder of the company which I was working at actually sold the business whilst I was doing my MBA, and he joined Stuart as the UK general manager. And I was thinking, oh, what is this logistics stuff? I hadn't really even thought about it or been at all interested in logistics before I decided to hear a little bit more, because I really respected him as a founder and enjoyed working with him. And there I learned a little bit about how cool and sexy logistics really is. So from there I joined, and then things changed and he got promoted, and then I now the UK GM. So that's how I got here, a little bit of context. So without further ado, Stuart started in 2015 with investment from Geopost, which is a French, very sexy postal company. And in 2017, they acquired us fully, which was a bit of a change, but they have left our DNA completely the same and really facilitated the growth of the company from there. So that's been a great asset to have on board. And where are we now? In the UK, we're in about 35 cities. When I started, we were in 1, so the expansion's been quite aggressive. And in France, we're in a whole ton of cities, about 50, and then in Spain, we're in 3. So, what do we do? In the world of Amazon, customers are getting higher and higher expectations of delivery, and customers expect more and more fast delivery, convenient delivery, speedy delivery. So clients, like our clients who we work with now, Nike, KFC, ASOS, no, not ASOS, Aesop. I wish ASOS, that would be great. Across a large number of verticals, Ocado, Sainsbury's, need to have a premium offering, a premium delivery offering that is enabling them to meet or exceed the expectations set by Amazon. And so that's where we really come into play, and we deliver across verticals, which you'll see later on. So our 2 main offerings are an instant delivery offering and a scheduled delivery offering. And you can send 1 or 10 parcels or however many parcels you want to do. And then I think it's very important to remember that we are not B2C, we're B2B. So from a user journey, how you as a client would interact, you as a customer would interact with Stuart, you'd go on, let's say, Zalando, and you would buy some shoes, and you would go through the checkout flow, you'd choose the premium option, and then we would deliver it. And you'll have a sort of Uber-like experience in the background where you'll see your courier, how he delivers it, and then you sign off at the end. So it's super convenient, super flexible, but we are completely under the radar, so we don't own any of the relationship with the customer. We just fulfill the deliveries in the background. And this is also super important. If you think, I guess every logistics company has to say something about Amazon. So, if Amazon sells everything, we kind of want to deliver anything and everything if it fits in a car or a bike or a moped. We don't do really huge stuff, although in France they're testing that. And what that means is that your couriers can pick up a food delivery at lunch or in the evenings, and then during the daytime, what stops them from doing some letters for a law firm, or delivering a phone, or fixing a broken screen, or delivering some groceries, or you see, I mean, the ideas are endless on what you can deliver and what we do deliver. But what that allows is for the couriers to be busy throughout the day, any day of the week. And that's the real vision. So Uber, Deliveroo, you're very peaky. So you're busy at lunch and you're busy in the evening. And with us, our goal is to really engage the couriers so they're busy the whole time, which unlocks a whole load of value. And they love it. And then it gives us a denser courier network, which allows us to provide better experience for our clients. So with that, blended demand curves, I'd like to show you a few case studies from some of the clients we've recently won and some of the personalized requests that they ask for, because it looks very good and convenient to have all these blended demand curves and, oh, that makes sense, you're flat and you're uniform. But when it actually comes to getting those clients on board, they all want personalization and bespoke features. And so how do we think about that? How did we interact with them in the first place? So I'll give you 3 examples and I'll try and go through them quite quickly. Zalando, which is an e-com player in Europe, I think maybe globally as well. Nespresso, I guess most of you maybe had a coffee this morning from a Nespresso capsule, so you're probably familiar with them. And Ocado, who's one of our most recent clients that we signed, who I guess you're also familiar with. And my sales director, my commercial director is here, who helped me sign them. She led the process, so they were super excited to have them on board, and that's really, really exciting. So Zalando, we just very quickly, how did we get in contact? This was for a personal connection of one of the people in France. So you'll see that it's quite random where these big enterprise leads come from. There's no, you have to go to a trade show, you have to go and send a cold email. They come from anywhere and everywhere. And because there's so few of these big enterprise clients to go after, there's no pattern, and we still don't know where's the best place to find them after 4 years. So what did Zalando want? We all know the pain of returns for e-com players. There's a lot of huge volume of returns, and it's a quite an inconvenient, fiddly process for customers to place the returns. So they really wanted to innovate and separate themselves out from the rest of the bunch. And what did they do to enable that? They came to us and they said, can you make an instant returns feature? So that means that you get your shoes or your clothes and you're not happy with them, you go on a portal that we create, you press the buttons and you get a courier within 15 minutes, or you have a 15-minute scheduled slot. So we had to create a returns portal, and then we also had to integrate with a network of pickup shops in order for the couriers to drop it off, because they can't just go back to a distribution center in Hull or Northampton. So again, you can see here from just this example, 2 bespoke features needed to be built in order to win this client. So now Nespresso, how did we first interact with them? It was a cold email to their carrier manager, and then 3 months later we hear, oh, we're looking for a fast and green solution for our deliveries from our London shops. Can you fill out this? Can you bid for the work? So what did we need to do here? We needed to have a pure green transport type, and they also wanted end customers to be able to recycle. So when the courier arrived, he or she needed to pick up the capsules and take them back to the shop. Now this is a feature that we didn't have before. We weren't expecting to have to build, but they wanted it. And at the beginning, when you're a small player and you can have the opportunity to work with Nespresso, you go, oh yeah, well, we've got to do this. So again, you can see here just two clients, and you have 4 bespoke features that you sort of have to make. Now, Ocado, this came about in another way where another client went bankrupt. The operations manager moved to Ocado and then spoke highly of us. I hope we didn't make them go bankrupt. And then this was 2 years before we actually went live with them, entered a hugely painful process of due diligence, bidding against a lot of other different players in the space to finally win the account. And 2 very important or red lines that we had to build for them in order to win the business were a cold chain feature. So our couriers, they can't have the goods out of the thermal bag for more than half an hour, or they have to deliver to the end customer in half an hour. Otherwise, you have to go back to the distribution center with the food and you have to dispose of it because you might have prawns or fresh fish or other goods. So quite dramatic because you have a courier who's driven for 30 minutes and instead of dropping it off 2 minutes later, he or she has to go back to the warehouse and throw away the food. But how do you actually build that into the product is, again, another feature to think about. And challenge 25, you can't deliver alcohol to minors. Obviously, we have to have a process surrounding that. So you can see here, there's 3 different clients and 6 different personalized features. So how did we as a small company think about prioritizing these features, getting them done, and what are the trade-offs that we had to make in order to win these accounts and sort of grow our business? But there are, of course, trade-offs with having to develop this, and what did we give up? So I want to give you some reflections here on how we kind of approach the problem. So is personalization an asset as you scale? Now, I think one thing which definitely our tech team think about, and we also think about, is you can either look at new feature requests from clients as, oh my God, do we have time? Can we develop this? What is it at the cost of? Oh, this is going to be a huge hassle for us, and we might not have the runway to even build these features before we find out if they're profitable. I think a healthier mindset is not to think about it like that, but to go, all of these are an opportunity to learn and to start to really understand where your business could thrive and could excel. And then once you learn, okay, food is going great, let's really push hard in the food vertical and improve our features in that vertical. Or grocery is going great, let's really build more features and more products into that vertical. But without that initial testing phase, you really don't know what's going to work well and what's going to fail. But one thing which definitely comes at a big trade-off of is centralized features that would impact the greater good of the whole platform. So we've been in really uncomfortable positions where we're in the middle of a platform migration and we're having trouble scaling, we're having trouble keeping up with the volumes that we're getting through the network, and at the same time you come in and a new client wants to, you bid for 10 million pounds of business a year and you go, shit, how can we forgo this? Because the good thing about B2B is that it's sticky. So once you get it, you've got it for a very long time in general. And so how do you really make these tough choices to trade off those two centralized features versus new client requests? And I think one thing which we've found super helpful for us is to have a very flexible operational team which is able to pick up the delays. And you would be really surprised at how much in the background you can compensate with operational, I don't want to call them hacks, but operational flows and processes that are not sexy and are not automated like they might look on the client side or on the customer side, but in the background that you're doing a lot of heavy lifting with a really flexible operational team, and that's super important to structure the business if you're going to take on a lot of personalization. When do we say no to client requests? I think that's also really important with this, because it's always scary. You think, oh, if I say no, I'm going to lose that business, and that really sucks again because they might not come along for the next few years. But we have to stick really firmly to what we have is 2 really core features and values that we need to uphold, and that's we want to build a dense network of inner city couriers, and we want to have blended demand curves. And so within that, we can be really flexible, and we will do almost anything we can to win the business. But if clients come and they say, we want to be open till 2 a.m. in Leicester, or we want to open this out of town area that we're not going to have any other clients in, we have to say no, because that doesn't stay true to our mission values. And the other thing is when clients come with personalization features, they want to have branded couriers who only work for them. It doesn't work because it doesn't help our blended demand curves, because it will only be for one client. And we have to say no to those things, even though you might get a really attractive client who you think, wow, that would look great in a deck and we might win some other business from it. But you have to stay strong to say no to that type of business, because it will end up costing you more than you can afford. And then finally, I think, what's the right balance of saying yes to personalization versus pushing back? And I think one thing that's really important here is for me, and the way we approach clients is through sustainability and transparency. We don't feel shy about being able to say no to certain features. What we'll do is we'll really spell out a lot why we have to say no to that and why we push back. Because we might be able to come up with other ideas which will work for them, and don't feel embarrassed that you can't deliver on what they initially proposed, because they might not understand the business, they might not have the full context, they might not have the full picture of what you can and can't do. And if you really spend time showing them why your operational model cannot sustain that business, they will understand, because it's in their joint interest to have you around in 6 to 12 or 24 or 36 months, because they're going to offer this service, they're going to invest in it, and so you need to be there for the long run. And so I would say don't feel shy about pushing back on and saying, no, we can't afford to do this, or it doesn't work, because it's really, really important. Plus, I think one thing which I would also emphasize on this is it builds a lot of trust with clients, because we have a lot of people come in now and try and sell us products and services. We're not a huge company, but we have 8,000 active couriers in the UK every week working on the platform, and so there is business to be done with Stuart. And we have a lot of small companies come in and sell us products, and they say, yeah, no problem, we can handle the volumes. And we know from having grown 20x in the last 18 months that you break and you fail, and you don't know when you're going to break, and you don't know when you're going to fail, but you will. And you need to be humble to that fact, and you need to be aware that that will happen. And don't feel shy about saying that to people, because it will build trust and it will build credibility with you as a partner. And you can think about sustainable ways to grow together, not to just say yes to everything that you're going to sell, because that's really, really important. And that's the thing that makes me least interested in anyone who comes and speaks to me, is when they say they can take all of our business and there's no problem. Because we've had companies worth £2 billion break because of some of our processes. And so we know that small companies will come and it doesn't work. So I think that's really important. So sustainability and transparency, for me, are the keys to winning business. You're not funny.